Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Humza Yousaf is about to launch his first programme for government since becoming leader. It's all his own ideas, and I'm sure they'll be brilliant. In fact, they're so fantastic that some of the things that they're going to be renouncing have been described by the likes of Murdo Fraser as it's as though the Muppets are running government. For one example is that they want to reduce, and they're going to write to Rishi Sunak to reduce corporation tax while at the same time increasing council tax and income tax for individuals and reducing corporation tax for businesses. It's almost as though he's setting out to deliberately impoverish the people of Scotland. And let me tell you, he is. Because if he can increase misery and poverty, he then makes life so intolerably bad for the people of Scotland. And he can then point to the utopia that will be an independent Scotland and say, please, let us give this, can you vote for us, we'll make this the way to be. Because then people will start voting for this utopia that he's promising. It won't, of course, it'll be the worst thing ever. But to get to that point, he's got to make people so impoverished, so miserable, their lives empty and devoid of meaning. And yes, he is. They are all Muppets. But he, of course, is especially one because he definitely has someone's hand up his arse running the show. We'll have a look at this article, see what is going on. Now, before we get into this, I'm just going to say straight up, out of the way, you know that this programme for government is going to be moronic. It's going to be filled with the most stupid ideas. And it's going to be filled with things that they will be quite unachievable because they are all morons. So once we get that groundwork out of the way, now we can just sit and look at the details and laugh at them, knowing how bad it is going to be. So Humza Yousaf's government likened to the Muppets over bizarre tax plans. The First Minister is set to launch his first ever programme for government on Tuesday. And this reportedly includes him writing to Rishi Sunak to ask him to cut corporation tax, despite the SNP government looking at plans to hike up both council tax and income tax. In other words, he wants to put the onus of tax off companies and onto individuals. Guy's a genius, isn't he? Humza Yousaf's government have been likened to the Muppets over his reported plans to plead with Rishi Sunak to lower business tax. He is making this call at the same time as threatening to hike up both income tax and council tax for hard-hit Scots. The First Minister is set to launch his first ever programme for government on Tuesday, and God help you all. As he bids to come out of Nicola Sturgeon's shadow and rip away the financial scandal which has engulfed the SNP. He can't. While that investigation is ongoing and there's still going to be arrests and charges, that isn't going to happen. This has mostly been kept under wraps, but reports have said he will be using it to rebuild bridges with the dissatisfied business community. Listen, knocking a couple of percentage points off corporation tax will be seen as a Westminster thing. It won't be seen as an SNP thing. If you truly want to help business and you take the credit, you need to reduce the local rates, the non-domestic business rates in Scotland, and cut income tax. It's the only way to do it. But of course you can't, because those pretty little brochures don't pay for themselves. One way in which he is doing this is by writing to the Prime Minister to demand that he slash corporation tax for targeted industries such as artificial intelligence. Well, they need artificial intelligence because there's none up there of the real stuff, is there? And renewable energy firms. Powers to reduce this rate are reserved to Westminster, with Mr Yousaf asking for an early discussion about the action that our respective governments can take together in order to support the growth across Scotland's economy. He has to demand it because he's got no right for it. But of course it's not within his demands. And indeed it may be that an independent Scotland could control their own corporation tax. Oh wait, no, because if they are in the EU, they have to obey EU rules on corporation tax. They can't just willy-nilly change it. Ireland has the exception because theirs was so low before they went in. They're the only country in Europe that has that power. And they're putting theirs up, and the likes of Apple and Google and all that are leaving. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny how when you start taxing these companies, they leave. These actions, including using tax and other financial levers to incentivise investment in sectors such as renewable energy, high-value manufacturing, life sciences and medical technology, and digital, big data and artificial intelligence. But this attempt to push for reserve tax cuts has been criticised by opponents who pointed out that the SNP executive has been using devolved powers to hike up tax for Scots. Yeah, the only tax powers you've got, and you've gone, more tax, more tax, more tax, more tax. And then when you want lower taxes, you have to go to Westminster. Please lower the tax for that. We need the money, but we need to, I don't know what to do. Because they don't know what they're doing. They have not got a clue. They have no idea. In April, income tax for those earning more than $27,500 was pushed up to a record high, widening the tax gap between England and Scotland even further. And this summer, the Scottish Government is consulting on council tax rises for hundreds of thousands of households. Scottish Tory business spokesman Murdo Fraser was the most damning in his criticism. He said, "You couldn't make this up. SNP hiked taxes in Scotland, but demand that the UK cut taxes at the same time. It's like the Muppets have taken over Bute House," and they certainly have. They are absolutely bonkers, aren't they? They are morons. I just can't get... I am honestly at a loss how people as stupid as this have managed to get into power. It's presumably because the people who vote for them are even more stupid. It's the only explanation. His colleague Stephen Kerr added, Humza Yousaf seems to have forgotten that he's the First Minister of Scotland and is now calling for taxes to be cut on businesses. A reminder, he's only just hiked council tax and threatens to increase income tax even more. The proposals could be included in the First Minister's debut programme for government on Tuesday, alongside plans to crack down on the sales of disposable vapes to protect the environment and young people. He's also expected to announce changes to childcare in the country following his leadership promise, his SNP leadership promise. Yeah, and who is paying, yeah? Who pays? It won't be him. His business tax pleas have been copied from calls made by Sir Tom Hunter, published 2 weeks ago, which suggested that the headline rate of corporation tax be cut to 15% from 25% in the key growth sectors highlighted by Mr Yousaf. But this could lead him on a collision course with his own coalition partners, the Scottish Greens, who do not believe in focusing on economic growth and instead have backed tax rises for middle-class Scots and above to further the tax divide between England and Scotland. You see, because the Greens are even more Marxist and they don't want growth. They actually want higher corporation tax to try and stymie growth, reduce the opportunity of people to work, reduce the investment to make sure that jobs aren't there, that there's no need for education, that basically the world becomes indolent, lazy, paid for by the state. Although where the state's getting the money has yet to be explained. They just want nothing. They want Scotland to be a wasteland. And of course Humza is listening to them because he has got no ideas of his own. Because he's a little rattly, empty brain. You know, it boggles like that. There's nothing going on. Nothing behind the eyes. So he's reliant on the massive wisdom, the intelligentsia that is the Greens to come up with all his best ideas. God help us. Anyway, I shall stop there and come up, and we shall leave the Muppets to the show, or the shit show, should I say, that is the Scottish Government. When you look at him, it's almost as though he doesn't know what he's doing, isn't it? He wants taxes to go up, but taxes to come down. He wants to move the tax base out of companies and put it onto people. But then he wants to make the claim that he's making people better off, even though he's taxing them more and costing them more. He honestly hasn't got a clue. He truly is a Muppet, isn't he? He isn't even a Muppet. But it is true. He has got somebody's hand up his backside working him. I'm pretty sure. I used to think it was. Nicola Sturgeon. The more I think about it, the more I think it's actually Patrick Harvey. I don't think Patrick Harvey quite likes that. Pretty sure Humza does, actually. Anyway, we shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't let Patrick Harvey put his hand up anywhere. Bye.